The reality of it is a lot of people say, man, I don't mind doing the work, man, but the sales isn't me. Sales isn't me. And I think what we got to look at is sales is you. You are the salesman. Normally wish it was somebody else is because we don't have confidence in ourselves. Are you the guy that stands and knocks on the door and says, God, I hope they don't answer? You know, the real question is simply this. If you could earn, and I want you to fill the blank in because it's all based on company size, okay? You know, it could, if you could earn 10,000, 50,000, 300,000, whatever, more, simply by just changing a few things, would you commit to doing it? And when I say changing a few things, as they relate to the selling process, we got to look at the training and education side so we can gain that confidence. And once we have that confidence of what we're doing and how we're doing it, procedurally, some sales techniques, we have to role play it. That's the third takeaway for today. We have to sit down and role play with somebody. And I used to hate when my dad did this with me. I mean, and he did it to the time he passed away. We'd sit down and we'd role play selling techniques. But the reality of it is, if you want to be a good salesperson, that's what it takes. It takes the training and education to know why you do what you do that's different, better than your competitor. That's one aspect of it. But also, you got to sit down and role play with somebody. Let's say this year you just want to sit and talk about, I think I'm going to implement service agreements this year, or I'm going to implement a fertilization and weed control program this year, or fill in the blank of what you're going to do new. Before you just go out and try it on somebody, sit down with somebody and have them be your customer. And don't tell them going into it, do not be my friend on this. Tell me why signing a service contract to get my lawn treated or my yard mowed or a landscape done, tell me why that's the dumbest thing in the world. Don't say, oh yeah, where do I sign? They're not doing any favors there. It created a love-hate relationship with my dad because anything I did and tried in this role-playing, when we did it, it was the wrong damn answer. And finally, you're like, okay, what do you want me to say? And he never would tell me what he wanted to hear. He made me think about it. I had to think about what I should be telling him. So when you sit down and you role play this out with somebody and they tell you, oh, I'm not going to sign a contract. Well, why would I sign a contract to get my grass cut? We hear that a lot, right? It's just menial labor. Was it menial labor? Heck no, it's not menial labor. Or am I going to sign a contract to get the landscape put in? Man, there's a million of your competitors aren't requiring a contract to be signed. That's why you sit down and you role play that out with somebody to know what your responses are going to be. Because when that comes up in real life, and what I didn't appreciate at the time was he was simply preparing me for the objections that I was going to hear when I was talking to somebody out in the real world. So when they ask me, well, why should I do that? Or you're too high, or nobody else is doing this, I knew what those answers were going to be. Because I was trained, I was educated, and I had sat down and role played it out with somebody. And that's where a lot of times we go wrong. What does role playing do for you? Let me ask you, what does role playing do for you? And like I said, have somebody be hardcore with you and tell you why everything you're trying to make sense with it doesn't make sense. But why does taking the time to do that make sense? I'll tell you, it's a simple answer. Role playing makes sense because that's what's going to give you the confidence to go out and sell your services.